At age 6, Jeff Johnston was kicked in the face by an open hammer shotgun. Some say the incident stunted his growth, but one thing's for sure, the crack of that old gun got Jeff hooked on shooting. He's since traveled the world, writing about hunting and firearms for America's foremost publications. And a few million rounds of ammo later, most agree he's become a perfectly average shot. These are his stories.
Hey folks, today I want to talk about rangefinders, specifically a new one from Leupold called the RX Fulldraw 4. Now, I've always trusted Leupold over the years. I've written about all brands and all price ranges, but I've really liked Leupold, and by the way, I'm not beholden to Leupold. They don't pay me. I'm just trying to tell you about a decent product that I believe in. And the reason I like Leupold rangefinders in general is because they have several benefits. Number one, they're great optically. Plenty of rangefinders, the cheaper ones, just optically they're nothing, so of course they work as a rangefinder, but you really can't see anything at distance. With this, it's a 6 times magnification. In a pinch, you can use it because it's clear. It's also multi-coated to where sun glare won't kill you, and optically it's just strong. Secondly, and very importantly, the reticle is backlit with the red LED and the readout too. This means at dawn and dusk, when you need a rangefinder the most, when you see the most game, you can actually see your reticle in dim light and against a dark background and see the readout. A lot of the lower priced units don't have that, and that's one reason I like the Leupold. Third, waterproof, durable. I've dropped these things out of tree stands. It is completely waterproof, and if you pay, good money for a tool, you want to be able to actually use it, and this thing will hold up. I've proven that. Battery life is a non-issue, even in heavy use of target practice and hunting. Seems like I change them every couple years. Also, this thing, while it's meant for bow hunting, is touted to laze trees and non-metallic objects where we'll go even further, but it's touted to trees out to 1,100 yards. Now, I've been testing this. I've got probably almost 2,000 yards out there, and I had a readout of 996. So 1,000, I'm sure maybe on a little bit clearer day or better day, maybe it would go further, but I got just shy of 1,000 yards. Still, that means this thing is versatile, and that while it's set up for bow hunters specifically, if you're a rifle hunter, this will probably be all you need. If you're shooting past 1,100 yards, I need to come take an instruction course for you. But the point is, if you pay about $700 for this thing, you ought to be able to use it year round. But the main feature of the RX Fulldraw 4, why it's for bow hunters, is because it has a full ballistic solution in here. Now, of course, most finders these days automatically compensate for extreme steep up or down shots. They'll tell you the real distance to the target and the distance that you should shoot for. Well, this goes a step further. If you enter all the information from your setup, it will tell you where you need to hold based on your setup, so you're that much more accurate. Great for Western hunters, especially shooting longer ranges or 3D archers. Why I like it so much, though, is for hunters, especially bow hunters in tree stands when you're hunting in heavy woods. It has the maximum height of your arrow trajectory. So when I get a range, depending on the yardage you shoot at, that arrow rises tremendously on that arc. Several times over the years, I could see the vitals of a deer perfectly. I think the shot is perfect at 30 yards. I go to shoot, and then I see a shaking tree and my arrow deflected because I didn't see a limb that was halfway to the target that my arrow struck, because I didn't account for that arc. Well, this Fulldraw 4, once you range, it'll show a line. Based on your setup, it'll show you exactly how high your arrow will rise, so you can see whether you truly have a clear shot or not. And I love that, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works on the range. It's pretty impressive. But to use this thing, guys and girls, regretfully, you need to read the directions. If you're going to pay good money for such a precision instrument and expect precision output from its ballistic computer, really read the directions. They're just a couple buttons. It's an easy setup as long as you know what you're doing. But namely, you've got to get 3 measurements. Number one, you've got to get your arrow weight. I've got a really short draw, but I like a heavier arrow for penetration. And get a scale, go borrow one, buy one. My arrows are 412 grains. Enter that. Next, you've got to measure your distance to your peep sight. What you do, of course, is measure from the center of your nock to the center of your peep sight, and I did this precisely earlier, but mine's 5 5/8. Enter that, and then finally enter your arrow velocity. Now don't take the manufacturer's word on your bow's velocity, because most of those are full of BS in that they're using those IBO specs under great conditions. You can generally take 20 to 30 feet per second off of that manufacturer's speed. I hate to burst your bubble there. Try to chronograph it. If you don't have a chronograph, go to the bow shop and get it done, because it's really important. Again, you need to be precise here when you're hunting. Sometimes inches can make all the difference. So get those things straight, enter it in the Fulldraw 4, and you're good to go. So it comes with, of course, the rangefinder, a handy little pouch, a quick reference start guide. The pouch, of course, is pretty handy. It's just simple. You can attach it to your harness like so many people do. And, you know, if you're not using it all the time, you know, it's great. It keeps it there protected. So I've set up a perfect scenario, and this scenario happens surprisingly a lot, at least if you're me. So there's a wild hog, in this case a target, through the woods there. I know that if he gets much further, I can't shoot because it's totally thick. But right there, from my height and from my view, that limb that is going horizontally is completely covering up his vitals. So most of the times you'd say, I can't shoot, I better wait. I also see that this limb, this green limb, leafy limb coming down, that's, you know, probably 2 feet from my perspective over the hog's back. So I'm not sure if my arrow can clear that, because I do think about that trajectory. But with the Leupold rangefinder, I'm gonna range the hog's back. That's 31 yards. Then it shows me the maximum trajectory arc my arrow will have, and I can clearly see that it's well below this limb. So there's no danger of me hitting that overhanging limb, so I know I'm good there. But what it also tells me is, when I range that limb is 16 yards, that's halfway to the target. Well, your arrow's trajectory, it's gonna reach that peak point at just about midway. And because 16 yards is about halfway, I know that that arrow is gonna go right over that limb and into the vitals of the pig. It's a little bit hard making yourself do that, but in this case, I'm gonna aim right at that limb and right through there in a perfect line to that hog's vitals. So it's gonna arc over this, hit the pig, and I'm gonna make the shot. But I'm gonna do all this because with this rangefinder, I know that I'm in no danger of hitting either limb. Watch this. So this is a perfect example of how using technology can allow you to make a shot easily that you might otherwise not even take. Now, I always stress, it's my opinion, you should be conservative when hunting animals. You just don't want to wound an animal. On the other hand, sometimes if you really need to make a shot, you only get one opportunity, and this turned out to be an easy shot using technology. I'm Jeff Johnston, that's no BS.